What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance Season 9, Episode 4, Pasta La Vista. So let's start off with Biniam and Ariella. So Ari's getting her hair braided by her maid slash assistant slash nanny slash best friend. Benny's asking her if she's going to be attending the luncheon that his sisters have planned for his farewell lunch. And Ari is like, that's going to be a hard no for me. I'm not going to be anywhere near your sisters, especially if they are within arm's reach of any food or drink product. So, no, I will not be attending the luncheon. You go on and you have fun with that by yourself. So Ari is still sticking to her story that she did not convince Benny to tell his sisters at the last minute that he was leaving for the United States. I don't give a damn what Ari has to say. I truly believe that Ari is the one that told Benny to wait until the day before they were supposed to leave to drop the bomb on them that they were going to be leaving for the United States. Because that's exactly what she did to him when she went to the United States for her son's medical procedure. She had Benny believing the whole entire time that the child was going to be having his medical procedure right there in Ethiopia. And the day before she was supposed to take off in her plane, she drops the bomb on him. Oh, by the way, we're leaving tomorrow for the United States for his medical procedure. So that is her MO. And so I believe that that's what she told Benny to do, because then you don't have to deal with this longer than you have to. You tell them the day before, hey, I'm leaving for the United States tomorrow. The next day you're on your plane and you're on your way. You don't have to deal with anything else with them. So he goes to the luncheon, and the sisters are glad that Ari is not with him. And as he's talking with his siblings about going away and all of this and that, the sisters are very very emotional about their brother leaving. They are very worried about their brother. I think Benny is the youngest one, so yeah, they are extremely worried about their brother. They're very very sad about him leaving. The producers asked one of the sisters, which is the one that threw the wine in Ari's face, if she felt like she needed to apologize to Ari. And the sister said, no, I don't have to apologize to her for anything. In fact, Ari needs to apologize to us for how she treated us. So, yeah, there's no love lost between Ari and the two sisters. The oldest sister cannot stop crying. I mean, she is crying nonstop, very, very sad about her brother leaving. The sisters tell him that once he gets to the United States, maybe he should also try to find his first son. Now, I never thought about that there's this possibility of Benny finding or locating his first child. And I don't know how Ari would take that. And even if he does find his first son, I don't know how the mother of that child would take that, because it seems like the mom left. I don't know if she left on bad terms. I don't know if she left because they make it seem like Benny makes it seem like she just kind of took off, really said nothing, didn't ever reach out to Benny ever again, made no effort for Benny to contact his son. Just poof, they were gone. So it seemed like she probably left on bad terms or something. So even if Benny was able to successfully find them, and even if Ari was very supportive of him finding his first son, I have a feeling that that first wife may not be in agreement with any of that. So it's the day of the departure. The sisters and then the brother arrive at the airport to say goodbye to Benny and hopefully to Avi as well. Ari refused to see the sisters. The sisters refused to see Ari. So that worked out in the sense that, neither one wanted to see the other. The sisters are just extremely sad. They are so distraught. The tears will not stop running. And the sisters say that they feel like Ari is evil. And they're, like I said before, very worried about their brother. They see their brother as being very naive, very trusting. And so he's in a position, I guess, to just kind of fall victim to whatever Ari to Ari's evil plans, or however Ari's going to treat him. Benny's just going to have to. And the problem is this is what I've noticed with Benny. It seems like to me, and I could be wrong, that Benny is only going to the United States with Ari because that's the only way for him to be with his son. Now remember, initially Ari was supposed to live in Ethiopia. That was the initial plan. But then she changed her mind and wanted to go back to the United States, and she's gonna take her son with her. That was not going to be negotiable. And Benny kind of like had no choice because he did not want the same thing that happened with his first son to happen with Avi, where the mother and the child take off to the United States again and he never sees them again. And I was so angry with Ari last season when she decided to leave Ethiopia and take the baby with her because like, don't you understand what this man went through with his first family abandoning him and him not being able to ever see his son again? Now you're going to do the same exact thing. And so I've always wondered if Benny is only going to the United States, not so much to be with Ari and marry Ari, which he's going to do anyway, but just the fact that he needs to be around his child. And so because he's in that vulnerable state where he feels like he's at the demands of Ari. Ari is running the show because she has the child. The sisters are like worried about him. Like he's not going to be able to stand up for himself. He's not going to be able to, you know, have it any other way other than Ari's way. And so I kind of understand where they're coming from, where his sisters are coming from on that. Because it's kind of like, you know what, he's going there for the sole purpose of being with his son. And there's things that Benny has said himself that makes me think that he's only going there for his son, not really so much for Ari. He does love Ari. He does want to be with Ari. But if they didn't have a child together, I don't think he would be going to the United States to be with her if she wanted to go back to the United States. So then they all say goodbye to each other, you know, minus Ari. And the sisters ask, can we say goodbye to Avi? And so Benny goes into the van and asks Ari, can my sister say goodbye to the baby? And Ari was like, hell to the no, they're not going to say goodbye to my child. Are you crazy? So he has to make up an excuse of why they can't say goodbye to baby Avi. And I thought that was really sad. I understand and I know where she's coming from, not letting the sister say goodbye to her son, because that is her son, but it's also Benny's son as well. And these are his sisters. And Benny has nothing to do with the sister throwing the wine in your face. And the child has nothing to do with that. So if you don't want to say goodbye to them, Ari, fine. But why are you going to also drag your child into this? Let the aunt say goodbye to their nephew. What is wrong with your child getting extra hugs and kisses before, you know, he leaves Ethiopia, most likely permanently, because I don't see Ari making any kind of trip back to Ethiopia for what? So I thought that was kind of cold because this is also Benny's son and he has the right to have his son say goodbye to his sisters. But, you know, Ari runs the show. Ari controls everything. So he just has to do what Ari wants to do and he has absolutely no say so. Moving on to Kobe and Emily. So we see Kobe in the kitchen. They're still in the hotel. It's the next morning and he's making coffee and homeboy is in his tidy whities. Now, Kobe, I understand, you know, you take care of yourself. You were an underwear model, which means that your physique had to be in top shape and you think you have the body of a god. And I know that the Chinese people really pumped you up into believing that you were something, you know, superhuman, but you and the tidy whities, it's a no-go. It is a no-go for me. Don't ever come on that screen again with those tidy whities. Now, if you want to have some boxer briefs or some boxers, okay, yeah, I'll take a gander. But you and the tidy whities, no, sir. So evidently the night before it went well. It went extremely well. There were fireworks. The music was playing. The angels were singing. It was magical. Okay. I don't know why she was so worried. I don't know why she was so anxious about it. The chemistry was there. The attraction was there. Everything went fine. Everybody was satisfied. So can we please put this subject to rest? Please. So Emily's really worried about Coben meeting Kobe. Like, is he going to, you know, take to his father, so on and so forth. One thing about children you will never have to worry about. You will never have to worry about children warming up to someone. In the beginning, they're going to be standoffish. They're going to be kind of shy because they're trying to figure things out, trying to figure out who the hell is this person? You know, do they have my best interest at heart? What's going on here? But after you reassure them that you're not there to harm them, kids are fine. He's going to warm up to his dad eventually. You never have to worry about that. So Kobe in the car, he starts crying because he's thinking about, you know, meeting his son. He's getting kind of nervous about it. He's just getting overwhelmed with emotion about meeting his son for the very first time. So they go inside the house and, Emily takes the baby. And of course, in the beginning, the baby is like, you know, don't touch me. I don't know who you are yet. But Kobe was just really overwhelmed with emotion. He couldn't stop crying. There was a moment when the baby actually smiled at him, and I'm glad that the cameras caught that. But there was this really brief moment when the baby smiled at Kobe, and Kobe just lost it. I mean, he just lost it. He was just crying so hard to see that smile on his son's face. So he was just so overwhelmed with emotion. And then, okay, so then there was this scene where, like, okay, so, Emily introduced Kobe to everybody. Kobe got overwhelmed with emotion. He's crying. The tears are just running down his face. He can't control himself. And then her parents are just standing there in the middle of the living room, and they're just looking at him. Now, the mother did get a little bit emotional because I saw her kind of like, dab at her eye a little bit. But for the most part, while Kobe was just like overwhelmed with emotion, Emily's parents are just standing there looking at him. Emily's holding the baby, just looking at him. And I'm thinking, why can't like the parents try to like, and I know he's a stranger to them. They don't know who the hell this man is in their house. But why can't, I mean, you see this man is breaking down because he's so emotional about seeing his son. Why couldn't they like go and like rub his back and be like, it's going to be okay, Kobe. We know how you feel. Something. But it's like people were just standing there staring at him while he was crying. And to me, that whole scene was really awkward. And another thing, Kobe, I know you came there with some damn toys. Why didn't you have a toy ready when you met your son to give him to play with so he can kind of, understand that, okay, this stranger is giving me toys. Okay, so that's 1 point for him. You could have had a toy with you when you met your son for the very first time, but whatever. So the dad says that he wants to be very welcoming to Kobe, but he's going to keep his good eye on him. He says, I'm going to be observing how he treats the family and his grandson. He is kind of nervous about having this strange man living in his home. Because the father had said he's going to have to prove himself to me that, he's willing to do what needs to be done to take care of both Kobe and Emily. So, Emily is sitting down on the couch. Kobe's sitting down right next to her, and she's holding her baby. She's breastfeeding her baby. And Kobe was playing with the baby's feet, and so was Emily. And so the baby started falling asleep. So as the baby was falling asleep, Kobe was still playing with his feet. And then Emily says, stop touching his feet. He's trying to go to sleep. And I was like, excuse me? This is the first time this man has seen his son ever. Your baby's going to be fine if the father is rubbing on his feet. But I didn't like that. I didn't like how she had to, exude all this control over over the child like that. I really didn't like that. It's okay for him to play with his son's feet. Now, I'm probably putting 20 on 10 because I noticed the most mundane things and I understand it's not a big deal, but that did kind of bother me. I was like, let that man play with his child's feet. There's nothing wrong with that. The baby's going to be fine. So Kobe thanked everybody for, stepping up, being there for his son, so on and so forth. And that's the end of that scene. Moving on to a new couple, Patrick, 31, living in Austin, Texas, Thais, 25, living in Brazil. So Patrick is a former weightlifter. He was a professional weightlifter. His best squat was 800 pounds. He went to the Pan Am Games. He was training for the Olympics. So he was really making a name for himself in the weightlifting community. While he was a weightlifter, he met someone, fell in love, and got married. She was also a weightlifter. Unfortunately, his weightlifting career ended early because he tested positive for human growth hormones, i.e. steroids, 2 times. And so because he tested positive for steroids twice, he ended up being eliminated from the Olympics, which basically ended his weightlifting career. When his weightlifting career ended, the wife also left as well because she was like, if you're not bulking up and making a name for yourself and bringing home some of this Olympic money, I have no use for you. So the wife ended up leaving him. They got a divorce. So now he was alone in this big house because I guess, the competitions and whatever else was paying very well. So he has this really nice home and he was all by himself in it. So he invited his brother to come live with him. Him and his brother are extremely close. He said that his brother helped him through his darkest days. So they are like, the best of friends. The brother came down from Boston because he still has that Boston accent. So Patrick's father is Brazilian, and the father ended up moving back to Brazil for his retirement years. So Patrick would travel back and forth a lot to visit his father. On one of his visits to Brazil is when he met Thais, a Brazilian model. So after knowing each other for 11 months, he popped the question. She said yes. They got approved for the K1 visa, and now she's going to be arriving in a few short days to start this brand new life with Patrick in Austin, Texas. For whatever reason, Thais does not want the brother living there. She wants it to be just her and Patrick. Patrick is conflicted now because he wants his fiance there, but he also wants his brother there because this is like his best friend. His brother has been with them through thick and thin. How is he going to throw out his brother for a female? So I don't know how that's going to work out. Now, your girl Thais is like a younger version of Jasmina from 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. And Patrick is like a younger version of Gino because they have that thing where Thais needs to know exactly where he's at all times. She has a tracker on his phone. He has to check in. He has to let her know where he is, who he's with, what he's doing, just like Gino and Jasmina. And I don't understand why people think this is cute. I don't understand why people are attracted to these types of relationships where you're a prisoner in your own relationship. You can't even go get a bite to eat without having to call your partner, letting them know, hey, it's 10:15. I'm about to go to McDonald's to get a Big Mac. Why do you want to live like that? Why do you want to live like a child? Because as children living with our parents, we couldn't wait to be independent where we didn't have to answer to anybody. But then you jump from that type of constricted confinement with your parents. Now you're in a relationship where it's like that. Like, why do people think this is cute and that this is the way to go? I don't understand it. So, anyways, him and his brother are at a bar. They're having the drinks at a bar. Of course, he had to check in. So they're at this bar, and he's telling his brother, because his brother was making fun of him about, why are you with a girl like that? Who makes you do these kind of things where you got to check in? She's got a tracking device on your phone where she knows where you are at all times. And so he says, well, first of all, I'm the one that suggested the tracking device, or whatever it is, the tracker, whatever she's using to track them. He says, I'm the one that suggested that to her because I got tired of her constantly interrogating me about what I was doing all day. So I just offered to have her track my phone so she knows where I'm at all times. So they're sitting at the bar and there's a couple next to them. And I guess, the couple is overhearing this conversation and they're kind of taking part of the conversation as well. So the female of the couple that they're sitting next to says that's a great idea. She tells Patrick, oh, that is so sweet that you offered your girlfriend to be able to track your phone. And I'm thinking there are people who think this is a great idea to do this. I don't get it. Why do you need to track another adult? Why can't two adults be independent, have enough security within each other and within this relationship to feel like, okay, my boyfriend or my girlfriend can go to the store and I don't have to know exactly where they're at every minute of the day. Just let me know where you're going and I'm good. You know what I mean? Let me know where you're going and come back at a reasonable time because it shouldn't take you 6 hours to go get, a gallon of milk. Let me know where you're going and come back safely. That's all I care about. I don't have to be on my phone tracking you, trying to, like, why do people want to live like that? That's just so bizarre to me. So, Patrick also owns a home. No, he doesn't. Does he own the business? Well, he says he does door-to-door sales for home security, and his brother installs a home security. So he's got like the state-of-the-art home security stuff, whatever, whatever. So there are times when he actually shares footage of his own home security camera to Thais. Why would you have to do that? What are you doing in your home that she has to see? I don't get this. The kicker is that Patrick says that once Thais arrives in the United States, he wants all of that tracking stuff, checking in stuff, all of that insecurity and jealousy to stop. How, Sway? How are you going to expect this? This is in her DNA to be this way. This is who she is. This is the type of girlfriend that you have. You have the kind of girlfriend that is so insecure, she needs to know exactly where you are and what you're doing every second of the day. And she has to give you permission to go and do certain things to go and hang out with certain people. This is like your new mommy. So, why do you think that she's going to all of a sudden have all of this confidence and all of this security within this relationship and within herself to let you just go do whatever the hell you want to go do, just to go buck wild out there in these Austin streets? When before, from Brazil, she had a tight grip on you, but then when she's right there in your home, you expect her to loosen up a little bit? We'll see, Patrick. We shall see. Moving on to Jabri and Miona. So Miona has never lived far away from home. So Jabri's going to have to help her know how to do laundry, cook and clean and do all of that because Miona's mom did all of that for her. So when y'all move out on your own, Jabri, you're probably going to have to hire a maid because I don't see Miona turning into Susie Q housemaker, Susie Q housewife, taking care of everything, keeping everything spick and span when you're moving to your own place. I just don't see that happening. So you're probably going to have to also invest in a maid because when you are this old and you don't know how to clean and do laundry and do all that other stuff for yourself because you were that spoiled by your parents, I don't see you taking on that role like voluntarily and independently, just, oh, I'm going to clean the house from top to bottom every weekend. I just don't see that happening. So, Jabri tells her, go ahead and start unpacking your suitcase. And Miona's like, oh, I don't have to do that because we're not going to be here for long. And Jabri is like, yeah, we're going to be here for a while. You need to unpack your suitcase. And then she says, even my winter clothes? Yeah, girl, even your winter clothes. You ain't going nowhere. You're going to be right there in Rapid City for probably a good year or two. Okay, so stop with this fantasy that you're going to be there for about 30 days and then move into your luxurious LA apartment. That's not going to happen anytime soon, Miona. So they go grocery shopping because Mahala is still expecting them to do the cooking in the house. Not every single night. I think Mahala said like twice a week. So they go grocery shopping because neither one of them knows how to cook. They opt to buy some pre-made frozen chicken Alfredo. They come home, they cook it. I guess they try to doctor it up to make it look like it's homemade or whatever. Mahala and her husband come home. They sit down for dinner and the food was awful. And Mahala and her husband had to let them know that the food was awful, which I thought was extremely rude. I thought Mahala and her husband would have better manners than that. When someone cooks for you, takes the effort to cook food for you, you shouldn't insult what they cooked for you. I understand that not everybody's a gourmet cook and not everything is going to taste good and not everything is to your liking. I totally get it. You're going to have to pretend that it is. You're going to have to just swallow that food and say, this is so delicious. This is so good. You're going to have to suck it up and fake it. It's so rude to eat to eat food that someone else made and then insult the cooking and criticize what they made for you. So Mahala was like, oh, the chicken is rubbery and it's really not that good and whatever. Basically, they just dogged out the cooking. And so Jabri was upset about it. He was like, can you please have some decorum? She slaved away in this kitchen all day to make this meal for you, and all you can do is just make fun of it. She's really trying. You want her to cook, and she's cooking, and she's trying. She's doing her best. So the parents felt bad, and they apologized, so on and so forth. But Jabri, sweetheart, yeah, your parents were wrong for doing that, but the food was pre-cooked. It's not like she really cooked it. Y'all just kind of warmed it up on the stove and served it. It's okay. Now, if she would have made everything from scratch, like she made the pasta from flour and dough and did all of that, I can understand. But the stuff was already pre-made. So whatever was wrong with it, blame it on the manufacturer. It's not really Miona's cooking. Okay, Jabri? Moving on from that. Guillermo and Kara. So they are in America and they're driving to her home. And as they're driving down the road or down the freeway, Guillermo is just taking everything in and he's just like so amazed by everything that he sees. Even the bales of hay. He was like, oh my God, look at those bales of hay. How amazing. He was just taking it all in and it was just so adorable to watch him, take in America for the very first time. So they get to her apartment the next day. He was talking about how he really enjoyed his hot shower because in his previous home in the DR, are in Dominican Republic, they didn't even have running hot water. So to take a very hot shower was like, luxurious to him. And that was so adorable that he enjoyed his hot shower. So after that, they start talking about, he tells her that he wants to buy a computer. I think she asked him, like, what things do you really need right now that we have to go get? I think that's how it started. And he said he wanted to go buy a computer. And she's like, a computer? Can we start off with a toothbrush? And he's like, no, I want to buy a computer. So they have this argument about this damn computer. He says, because she says, there's no money in the budget for a computer. I've saved so much money, and all these funds are allocated to what we need for this household, so there's nothing left over for a computer. And he goes, I have my own money. I sold my bike and I have my own money and I want to buy a computer. And so she's like, no, that money is for household expenses, whatever. You can't buy a computer. Now, Kara, how are you going to tell this grown man that he cannot buy a computer with his own money? That's the one thing he wants. How can you finance it? Can you have a payment plan? I mean, what are you talking about? He can't get a computer. I thought that was crazy that he couldn't go buy himself a computer. So then Kara says, I have a computer. You can use my computer. And he says, no, I want my own. Now Guillermo probably has been looking forward to getting his own money, coming to America, and buying the computer of his dreams. Why can't you let that man have his computer? And then after that, you can kind of get strict with the purse strings. But this is the money that he has, that he came to the United States with. He can't use his money for a computer. I thought that was I felt bad for Guillermo. Yeah, I felt kind of bad. I think Kara is going to be kind of controlling. Now, Kara, you're a really cute girl. Okay, you're a cute girl, but these controlling ways that you have is kind of like, chipping away at that cuteness. So yeah, fix that. Shaida and Bilal. So Shaida is still upset about the prank. She's all like, I'm still mad about the prank, but he's making up for it because, she loves this home. This is big, luxurious home. His mom, sister, and brother come over for dinner. Shaida says that she can tell that Bilal is the favorite because she refers to him as the blue-eyed baby, because in Trinidad, there's a term for the child that's the favorite, and that term translates to the blue-eyed baby. Now, I would like to know the history of that term. Why is the favorite the blue-eyed baby? I'm curious about that. Moving on. So at first, the mother has a really good impression of Shaida, and they're sitting down for dinner, and the whole family knew about the prank because he needed their assistance to pull off the prank. So they all knew about it, and they were so curious to find out, how did Shaida react to the first house that she saw, the older home. So Shaida was trying to be very diplomatic and very polite. But she also wanted to be honest as well. So she said, well, when I walked into the home, it reminded me of my grandmother's home because it looked, what did she say? It took her back to the past. Like I said, she's trying to be very diplomatic, trying to be very nice about it, because this is their home that, this woman raised her children in. So Bilal says, she said, you brought me all the way from Trinidad to this? So he threw his own fiance under the bus. Bilal, why did you do that? You want your family to like her. You know what it is. Shaida knows what it is. Y'all know the what's up. You didn't have to make her sound like that to your family. You know what I mean? That was just bogus, Bilal. That was just so wrong for you to do that. You don't do that to your fiance. You have to always stand up for your partner. Always. Because you have to rely on each other. You have to trust each other. You want her to stand up for you. So you need to always, make sure that you protect her and you stand up for her. So yeah, when she showed up at your house, that first house, yes, she did act a little bougie. She acted like she was too good for it. So you knew the what's up. She knows the what's up. You don't have to blab all of that to your family. That was just no bueno. So then they ask Shaida, well, how do you feel about children? Shaida loves children. She's okay with Bilal having his own kids. She wants to bond with his children. And she wants to also have children of her own. And so Bilal is kind of like, well, my kids are almost grown. And, once my kids are completely grown, I have plans for myself. I want to travel. I want to do this. I want to do that. So basically, in a roundabout way, he's saying he doesn't see any more children in his future. And Shaida says that anytime the subject of children comes along, Bilal finds a way to kind of skirt the subject. He doesn't want to hit it head on. So this is something that you're going to have to figure out very, 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 very quickly, because Shahid is 37 years old. So she doesn't have 10 years for y'all to kind of mull it over on whether or not you're going to have kids. So Bilal, be a man, be blunt, and be honest. If you don't want kids, tell them that you don't want children. And if she doesn't want to stay in a relationship like that, then this gives her the time to go find someone else, and she'll have enough time to start making a family with somebody else, because, time is not on her side on this subject. So, Bilal, be honest with her with exactly what you want. And stop wasting your time if y'all are not on the same page with that, with the whole children thing. And that is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this content. If you don't, that's perfectly okay. Thank you for stopping by anyway, and I will talk to you later. Bye.